some fun of it, you know.
Yeah, I've got it. It's over the top of my head. No, it's fine. You're not going to adjust this one, are you? This one is going to go without.
Just start there, just take some legal advice on the matter of the agenda. Which is very important to all members. Council Jenny Wallasey is the only apology. There's other councillors out there, but they've got deputies for the committee. Okay? Anyone got any interest? No? Agree the minutes? Last week?
Just one item. There was a reference in the minutes to whether the Rotary Club or Heswell or an round table had previously requested a special certificate for delegated responsibilities. You think there was the transfer of responsibility for the safety at sports ground. I've since spoken to Mark Campbell and he confirmed it had actually been buried in the round table, but it has been fed in the meantime since his refusing to the Rotary Club.
Okay. No, that's a minute, folks. Okay. Okay, thank you. Now, took legal advice. Now, this is how we're going to play the agenda tonight. We're going to review the agenda. We're going to deal with item 3, and then we're going to go to item 7. Okay? Now, the other 3 items in relation to the Hackney Carriage items, we have to go into exemption because there may be personal and financial points that in each individual case. Okay? Is that agreed? Yeah. Okay? So we'll deal with item 3.
Which I think is the report asks the committee to consider whether or not to confer the title of Honorary Alderman on former Councillor Wood. Councillor Kate Wood has been a member of the council since the start of the year 1973 and has about 39 years service. Under section 249 of the Local Government Act, an honorary
Sorry, Chair, I thought we were going to discuss the item. I mean, this is coming past to us from previous council with long-standing, and I'm going to say what I said then. I personally don't like the overnight system. I think it's archaic, and I don't think we should be doing this in this modern day and age, and therefore I would wish to come my dissent to the position. Any more dissents? When we say a special meeting,
It would be about 5-10 minutes before the meeting scheduled.
on the 17th of December.
Yeah.
Okay. Just for record. Other than that dissent then, have you ever moved them? Can I move them? You want to second it? Okay. Okay.
Was that council asking me?
Yeah, move it. Second. So the model service was cancelled. All those in favour? All those against? Consonant. Okay, thank you, Chair, for the report. Thank you. Right, going to item 7.
Chair, I am advised that the ordinance is trade outside, so
Yes, Lord.
Commissioner, I'll go and
Okay. Can we get more? Okay then. Margaret?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to seek members' approval in respect of the criteria to be used to determine when an application for a Hackney carriage or private hire driver licence is deemed to be controversial and must be referred to the licensing panel. In accordance with the scheme of delegation contained within the Council Constitution, officers are authorised to issue licences in respect of private hire and Hackney carriage drivers who comply with the criteria for granting licences, subject, this is how the Constitution is worded, subject to controversial matters being submitted to the licensing panel. To date, matters that have been deemed controversial have been when a criminal records bureau check has revealed convictions, cautions, warnings or reprimands. And in such cases, all applications have been referred to the licensing panel. And members of this committee who sit on the licensing panel will be well aware that that has included applications where there have been individuals who may have committed a criminal offence 30 plus years ago when they were very young. We do now have a very comprehensive convictions policy which is applied by members of the licensing panel in respect of when licences can be granted. And we are asked as officers to review the matters that were actually referred to the licensing panel in view of the number of applications that were being referred and were then being granted simply in accordance with the convictions policy. There If in looking at that criteria the licence would be refused, then it would be on those occasions that the application would be referred to the licensing panel. And that's the proposal to address such issues. Something that isn't within the report that I anticipate may be a question is that in relation to existing drivers who may, during the time that they have a licence, find that we may be notified or they may come and tell us that they have a conviction. We are not proposing to change that particular process, therefore, on every occasion they would be referred to the licensing panel. I think it's logic to understand those being familiar with the policy is that it usually allows a certain length of time after a conviction or indeed a sentence that the licence can be granted. So logic dictates that if it's there and then whilst they're holding the licence, there will be no lapse of time in any case, and therefore it should come forward as a licensing panel.
Okay, we all understand that because, we've sat here sometimes all day, mostly the Friday, and like, the guy come in 30 years ago without a caution, you know what I mean? Not in the tears. And what other cases like that? Someone's got a speeding fine, 20 odd years ago, another example. So the people understand what's being said here. It's not going to, obviously everyone with serious criminal convictions, as Mark's explained, that will not be the case. I'll tell you that now. But when we have people here, 20, 30 years ago, things that happened when they were 50, but, it's totally ridiculous. And what we should be, spend more time when with serious cases that are risk more time and answers on the taxi panel.
Thank you, Chairman. I think I do understand what's being said. Whilst not being familiar with these criteria which the panel have been applying, can I be assured that such serious convictions will be sufficiently far back that I can be confident my daughter and my friend getting a taxi?
Yes.
Well, first of all, practical one, will notify the committee on the panel of any licences that have been granted because then we look at
Currently, obviously, licences are granted on a daily basis in some circumstances, and they're granted subject to, if CRB comes through clear with them, that they will be granted. Currently, if they're not clear, then they're automatically referred regardless. If it was that members wanted that those that were granted where there had been a conviction, but in accordance with the policy, it was subsequently granted, then that would be fine, yes, we can do that. And we can either report it to this committee or to the panel. Of course, at the moment, the panel meets once a month, and that may not be the case, in future. And in discussions with Mark, that it wouldn't be that we would be set up a process whereby we would be considering these. In any case, it wouldn't be down to one officer's decision.
to be my next question.
Yeah. So we have said in reporting to members how we want that reported. Open to suggestions really, whether it comes to this committee or whether it's on a weekly basis via email to members. I'm really open to.
Well,
Excuse me, Chair, can I just ask
one thing as well. Our people that's been dishonest and telling us not giving us the proper information, spends income before the month. That's all right. You do that, all right?
It's a massive for you, but you may find you've still got quite a number of people coming because the ones that forget to tell us are the ones where it has been 10, 15, 20 years ago. Because they all remember the most recent ones, but
The message would soon go out, you don't need to sell, so it doesn't even go to the panel.
I mean, I think again that's why you need to be what we've discussed in terms of the process would be that it wouldn't simply be anybody who did have convictions would not simply be invited to make an appointment to come and get their licence, that they would make an appointment with Margaret and Margaret would go through and explain why on these circumstances they were being allowed to have a licence. And I think at that point it would be brought up in relation to them not declaring their convictions at the time. And if the chair's mind or the committee's mind to maybe that we can actually build into that process that we automatically give
Sir, can you give some order, please? If you want to talk, just go outside the room. Okay.
you know, I mean, it's a good point to raise, and it may be that we could actually give them a warning in terms of honesty, you know, on issuing the licence. That's what was appropriate.
Well, Councillor Walton, I mean, I do think that we do need to break the lockdown and wait and touch down basically, because we are sitting there all day, and in some circumstances it is mainly physically exhausted, and it just drags the whole process on, where people actually are caution and reporting could have been issued as a license, get on with the job, and then live it. I'm quite happy with this. Obviously, we discussed Saturday agendas many times, and I see this as officers, our officers who support us very well during the Saturday panel. But I'm very clear on what the policy is. I know they're clear on what the policy is, and we do apply the policy, and I'm quite happy for our professional officers to apply that policy in the circumstances outlined in the report. Okay?
Would the CLB check not figure those offences? They should do, shouldn't they?
They do, yes. They do.
Some might be spent convictions, like something that happened when they're 14.
That's the issue, is that in relation to licensing private
They're not spent at all, so you have to decide. So the CLB check should be filled.
yes, but they will make their application before, they will make their application before the CMRP has been undertaken, and therefore on many occasions, as has been indicated by Council Glasson and by offences that they've committed, some due to age, some perhaps with a view to not wanting you to be disclosed or hoping you disclosed, have some of them are more forthcoming in saying, I have a number of convictions and I can't remember them all. And I think just depending on each and every circumstance, that's always reported to members in the body of the report, so members know and are clear in relation to whether convictions have all been reflected to the officers by the individuals.
obviously we would then have said to them, express architect, that they hadn't and asked their questions why they hadn't declared them. And again, if it becomes controversial, outside of that, then, we can definitely, I think that, the owner should decide what they want.
Councillor Moore?
Yeah, I mean, so you know, again, the members of the traffic panel, we gave it all the time, I didn't realise, and it's on the form, it's really, really clear, but new applicants come in and say, I didn't realise you want to spend, and you go through this process over and over again. And if all of those are important, we still have issues in front of us, that's the problem. So we either delegate it to officers, or we keep it as it is, but personal preference would be to delegate it to officers and then those really controversial matters, and obviously other drivers to transgress our report to the panel.
Through Chair again, in relation to the notification to members on future committee meetings or panel hearings, and the example shown by the planning committee is that the decisions for planning matters are dealt with by officers using their delegated authority. Then a report to each and every planning committee, development control committee, is provided by the officers in those circumstances where planning has been approved. The report is minimal, i.e. the address the officer dealing with it, and there's any reference to specific conditions remaining. But there is a report at the end of the matter, at the end of the agenda noted, so that members are aware of the individuals. They won't be aware of the individuals, clearly, because there may be issues of confidentiality related to the issues as we've been with licensing panel. But that is one way of noting. And clearly, if members are noting this or considering the information, wish to revisit the matter as a consequence of concerns in relation to some matters, and clearly that's something that can be an ongoing discussion, ongoing matter.
That's exactly the kind of thing I'm saying.
Okay,
Sure.
Councillor Bailey.
Somebody who's not on this committee, when you read this for the first time, it almost appears, well, actually, in relation to CRB checks, there's no need for a licensing committee. It sort of oddly reads that only in circumstances when it would be refused would it go to the panel. But if it's going to be refused, I mean, why bother with the panel anyway? I know that's not what he's saying, but that's to a degree kind of reads. And I suppose from my point of view, what I'm trying to establish is the policy, and I'm necessarily aware, I don't know what the policy is in relation to it. Is it relatively clear cut in the sense that you can look at a CRB report, and I know we've got all these cases 30 years ago and all that, which obviously are clear cut, but there must be some where it's discretionary, just as to whether you would refuse or not refuse. So is the policy where it's discretionary, where because it always implies that it's very easy to pick up an application and look at it straight away and say that would be refused, that won't be refused. Now, is that the case, or is how much discretion is there within the policy?
Yes, certainly, yeah. I mean, certainly there are certain instances which are very clear. The way the policy is written, it actually separates out and identifies.
Sorry, Mark.
Yeah.
I apologise.
I mean, it identifies separate type of categories of offences, and it goes into the actual time lapse between the offence being committed or the sentence being passed for such a conviction. So there is a marrying up. I say where there is that possible discretion whereby it could be refused, they are the ones that would be referred to the licensing.
So it's really,
yeah, because
rather than would be refused, it almost should read in here, because it implies that it's cut and dry.
right, okay,
These would be refused, it's rather
likely to be
refused,
yeah, that
would be
more appropriate. The law does not allow, and you're all familiar with
use their discretion and look at the individual circumstances around that particular application.
Okay. For those who's not on the licence planning tax plan, you must remember it doesn't end there. When we've turned down and we're taking quite a few, they have the right to appeal. And what they do then, they go to the magistrates. And the magistrates will obtain the decision that the licence plan is made. And that, a lot of people go and do it.
There have been a number of appeals, and there have been two that have been successful in this appeal, but not as many as those that have not been successful. But it's a risk and it's an option to them that they can pursue.
And the £200 in it, something.
That's my understanding. That's the court fee.
My understanding, when someone appeals in legislature, the cost would be what we need to know.
And they wouldn't get legal aid, I think, to assist in their case, or they would, if they're instructing solicitors, then that's coming
But to have the licence panel, chairs before me, Councillor Watson, Councillor Taylor, will all strive over the last 5-6 to toughen up the panel, which it has, and tighten up procedures, which we have done. What we are suggesting tonight is the officers is that where we have people who have 20-30 years ago to repeat themselves like park and ticket, those are going to be 14 or 15, that sort of thing where they let the officers have the discretion.
So can I just ask, on the application form that tax card fills in, does it actually state that, parking ticket is not spent, speeding ticket is never spent? Does it actually say?
The examples are not the best examples, should I say, because the parking ticket is not. Sorry, but yeah, it does state that it exists.
Yeah. So when we get the CRB check, when we've had, only 30 years ago, somebody was 14, and we had somebody else 40 years ago when he was 12 or 13, something like that.
There's a rehabilitation of offender samples. So why don't you apply that? I know the CRB check will show the conviction, but why don't you then just take the rules of the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act that says that actually you don't have to declare that?
I think that the way that the exemption was actually issued to the individuals who did have a history of normally being condemned, and therefore it was an important aspect to try and get us, full detail of the individual's background. I think in relation to the policy, many of the determinations, for example, if there was a public order offence, for example, and there was a conditional discharge for 2 years, which would normally be the exemption period in relation to that particular offence, then we will apply that, anybody applying with that conviction may not get a licence for after 2 years, and therefore if that offence has been committed 4 or 5 years ago, then that may in general put the committee to actually grant the licence, because there is a use of the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act, but effectively in assisting members in invoking the actual policy.
The rule I was getting at, you could have had that rule beforehand and then you would never have got the 30-year offence because it would have been...
Well, if it depends on the offence, because if the offence is sexual,
It would, but then rightly that way you could come before this committee.
That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying, yeah. We should be spending more time with anything that's serious, such as sexual, such as violence, such as stuff like that. That's what we should be doing. Any more questions? Anyone? No? Anybody else?
Maybe we could reassure Councillor Watts that Hamlet is always conscious of the fact that it's not so much about the front of their minds that when you're making a decision, members of the public, including you, are getting in about the capital.
well, sorry, through you, that's the primary way for the amendment to consider. It's not trying to ensure that the individual before them actually is of benefits and actually has a job that he can do as being a taxi driver. The main
And that's what we want to aim for, is that people that, you know, there's time to time this way, do some sort of more taxi driver, stuff like that, and we get told that filters, a lot of stuff filters to members who are on the tax panel, and that's what we want to get. We should spend more time on serious cases and should do. Right, any more questions? No. Then, if we agree the policy, or suggest the policies, then do we want a weekly bulletin for all members of the GP, or members of the license panel?
Or the alternative is to either the next licensing panel or the committee report back at that time in relation to those other cases.
Chair, I think, I mean, from a personal point of view, I'm a member of the panel, so I'd be quite happy to be there. I don't know whether colleagues from the committee would be really interested in Mr. Driver's name, frankly, but that's a matter for them to say. So I'd be quite happy to have it like in panel agenda.
Okay.
Thanks, Andrew.
Okay.
Chair, if it may request as well, in terms of implementation, that we look at a date for this to start. We have got licensing panel listed obviously for tomorrow, and we will be looking to list a licensing panel in December. But it could be appropriate to start the new process in January. Would that be acceptable?
Chair, I mean, it's a matter for officers to tell us when they would be ready to do it, because obviously if you look back through stuff, I'm quite happy we've made the decision to do this, but I don't know how long it will take you to get ready to do it, and that's your professional judgment. If you're suggesting the 1st of January, then it's the 1st of January. If you suggest after tomorrow's licensing panel, I'm quite happy with that too. I mean, it really is a matter for officers to tell us when they would be ready to do this.
Well, we do.
I think January is.
So we start off in January. Okay, is that agreed? With all the comments included by all the councillors. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Right, this is for the members of the public and the trade. The next three items will be exempt, being approved by the committee prior, but there may be personal and financial issues, but then individual cases. You understand that? Okay? Just before, just one minute, I'm going to ask Mark for trade the something that got my attention from the policy, so can I be ready tomorrow?
Sure.
Oh no, okay, later on tomorrow. Okay. Thanks for your time.